So today, let me introduce our very, very honorable guest speaker. For today, we have an exceptional guest on Essentials Episode 2. Our guest, Engineer Jeffrey M. Amboy, is a licensed electronics engineer and a distinguished board top-notcher who ranked 5th in the October 2008 ECE licensure exam. He is a researcher and a lecturer with extensive experience teaching undergraduate physics, engineering mathematics, and electronics and communications engineering in some of the most reputable engineering schools in the Philippines. His impressive research on processing perovskite films for solar cell applications, conducted at the University of Tokyo, earned the prestigious recognition of Best Graduate Thesis during his commencement exercises. Currently, he is an assistant professor at Batangas State University and a member of their faculty of the Department of Electronics Engineering, where he passionately educates and shapes the next generation of engineers. Beyond his academic role, he has been a sought-after lecturer in review centers, equipping students with the knowledge and confidence to excel in their licensure exams. He also serves as the coach of their institution's quiz teams, guiding students to success in competitions. With such a wealth of achievements and contributions to the field, we are thrilled to have Engineer Jeffrey M. Amboy with us today. So please join me in giving him a warm welcome as we dive into his incredible journey and insights. So palakpakan naman po dyan guys kahit ating pong mga virtual hands. So good evening po, Engineer.
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes po,
Narinig niyo
audible
ako?
po kayo. Kamusta naman po kayo, Engineer?
Okay naman, mabuti naman. Eto, nasa school pa rin. Nasa school kasi sa halip na bahay ko gawin yung webinar, dito na lang sa school. Ayun.
Grabe, very
So,
dedicated po
kamusta
talaga
naman yung
ang
ating mga officers? Thank you pala sa pag-invite sa akin for being your speaker for episode 2 of your Essentials, which is entitled Bridging Engineering Gaps. At ngayon nga, I would like to share with you some demystifying concepts about Maxwell's equation. So, demystifying Maxwell's equations. Ayan. Kita nyo na po yung second slide na aking pinakita.
Yes po.
Okay. Matanong ko lang, sa tingin ninyo, sa lahat ng discoveries since nagkaroon ng modern civilization, mula pa nung nagkaroon ng mga tao, no? When human beings first started discovering things up to now, matanong ko lang kayo, what do you think is the most substantial na may pinakamalaking naging impact kung paano tayo nagkaroon ng modern world today? Okay? Meron po bang gustong sumagot ng tanong? So, since human beings set foot on Earth from other planets, what do you think is the most uh, important technological breakthrough or discovery ever made by human beings which propelled our modern civilization to what we know today? Who would like to answer the question? Ano sa tingin nyo, tinagalog ko na, ano sa tingin niyo yung pinakamahalagang discovery ng mga tao na naging dahilan kung paano tayo nagkaroon ng modern world na meron tayo today? Anyone? Okay, Alexis, you may speak.
So, good evening po, Engineer. For me
Yes,
po, ang siguro po sa akin na ang pinakamahalaga na na-invent ng tao is the technology itself. Like,
technology itself.
yes po,
Yes.
na doon po papasok yung equations.
Yes. So
Thank you po.
technology. Okay. So the technology itself, we're able to develop lots of technologies. That's right. However, what specific technology of all the technologies that man-made has ever developed, what do you think has the most significant effect or impact na naging dahilan kung bakit naging ganito yung world na meron tayo ngayon? How about Mr. Glenn Lachika? Glenn, you are from what school? Printing, ULS. What is ULS? University of La Salle. Okay. So we have students from other provinces. Thank you, thank you. Okay. So the printing press, ano? So I think na-invento ang printing press sometime in the Industrial Revolution period, ano? So dahil nagkaroon ng printing press, nauso ang mga libro, 'di ba? Okay. What else? What else? Who would like to answer? Would you like me to restate the question? Of all the technologies that man-made has ever developed, what do you think has the most significant impact to the modern world that we know today? Oh, that's the question. So who would like to answer? May we hear from another audience? Tingnan natin yung chat. May nag-chat. Enhancement of communications. Na naman. Sabi ni Maricel Closa, ba estudyante ko ito no? Tama nga naman, ano? Kasi kung hindi nagkaroon ng communications, mahirap maging progressive yung world na meron tayo. It would be difficult to have a modern world without communications, no? And sabi ni Alfred, wireless comms. Yes. So, yung communications and wireless comms, parang same na sila, no? Because we're able to communicate wirelessly today. Okay? And Michelle Lasin said it's the internet. Right? The internet. Imagine a world without internet, no? Halimbawa, nag-brown out, walang wifi, ikaw nga hindi ka na magkaintindihan kung anong gagawin mo kasi parang helpless ka kapag wala kang internet. 'Di ba? So, internet is what we use to communicate. We use internet not only for studying, we use it for communications. But not only for communications, we use the internet for practically everything nowadays. We use it for banking, for commerce, for studying, for education, for shopping, for commerce, and everything. 'Di ba? Kaya mahalaga yung internet na na-develop natin. Okay? And according to Janine Riel, it's electricity. No? Electricity. Pero maiisip mo nga naman, ano, kung walang electricity, walang internet. 'Di ba? Kung walang electricity, walang wireless communications. Even kahit na wired communications yan. Ano? Without electricity, there will be no wired communication. What was the first ever mode of communication na ginamit natin na gumagamit ng wire? That's the telegraph, right? Which was invented in the 1800s, in the 19th century. So that was the first ever electrical communication na meron tayo, no? And then nagkaroon ng telephone, and then nagkaroon ng wireless communications. But all of these communications, modes of communications, will not be possible without electricity. Do you agree? Okay. So, for me, personally speaking, it is the development of electricity which has the great impact to the modern world that we have today. Because without the developments in electricity, hindi magiging ganito ka-modern yung world na meron tayo. Okay? So to begin with, personally, no, I was the one who drafted this. Hindi ko ito chinat GPT, ano? Personally, for me, it is the developments and the discoveries in the field of electricity and magnetism during the 19th century, which paved the way for the birth of modern physics, and therefore the evolution of our civilization and technology from the days of industrial revolution to the modern day world that we know today. So it is these developments in electricity which paved the way for the evolution of more modern forms of technology. Thus, electricity and magnetism played a vital role in the development of our modern society. And without these developments, as I have said, our world will not be as modern as we know it today. Now, all of these technological innovations that you have in mind, which shaped the modern world, are mere consequences and applications of the fundamental laws of nature. So, as I have mentioned the question a while ago, I know that all of you, practically all siguro, na nakikinig ay nag-iisip ng technology na pwede niyang isagot. Yung iba syempre nasa utak lang nila, yung iba they were brave enough to type their answers. But I know that all of you was able to think of some form of technology. But these technologies no, will not be possible without electricity. Now, the laws of electricity and magnetism are just some of the fundamental laws of nature. As I have said, all of these technologies that you have in mind are just consequences and applications of the fundamental laws of nature. However, it is important to consider that the laws of electricity and magnetism are included in these fundamental laws of nature. And now you may ask, what are the laws of electricity and magnetism which gave us practically all of the modern technologies that we have today? That is the question. What are these laws of nature that I am telling you na naging dahilan kung bakit tayo nagkaroon ng mga modern technology na meron tayo at ginagamit natin today? These laws are governed by a set of equations called Maxwell's equations. That's why tonight, our goal is to demystify these seemingly complicated equations. So on your screen right now, you can see the Maxwell's equations on the right side of the screen. As you can see here, these are the four Maxwell's equations that I'm referring to. Now, tonight, our goal is to understand the meaning and the significance of these equations rather than to delve and discuss the highly technical maths involved. So, guys, don't worry, hindi tayo magso-solve tonight, no? Hindi natin papaiyakin yung mga brain cells nyo because our goal is to demystify Maxwell's equations, meaning we will try to discover what the maths is trying to tell us. We will not do the math, but I will let you know and understand what these maths are trying to tell us. No, we will focus more on the meaning. No, what these equations mean. What do they imply? Okay, so before the end of the lecture or this webinar, you should be able to understand the importance of these four Maxwell's equations. Now, since yan ay Maxwell's equations, this was named after named after James Clerk Maxwell. No? And what are these Maxwell's equations? These are a set of four partial differential equations. As you have seen in the previous slides, these are not just simple equations. These are a set of partial differential equations. High-level equations yan, ano? Which describe all electromagnetic phenomena. These four equations are the mathematical basis of all electromagnetic phenomena. Kahit na anong bagay na maisip mo na may kinalaman sa electricity and magnetism, kayang i-explain ng apat na ito because they serve as the foundation of classical electromagnetism. Not only classical electromagnetism, that also includes classical optics, which is the study of light. All the electric circuits and magnetic circuits. So these four equations are powerful. Now, let me bring this back, the four equations that I have shown in the previous slide, no? These are the four equations that I am referring to. Huwag kayo masyadong ma-distract. Kung feeling nyo hindi nyo naiintindihan ang mga equations na yan, it's okay. Because tonight, our goal is to understand the meaning of these equations. But at the moment, I would like you to know that these four equations are the pillars of electromagnetism. Anything that has something to do with electricity, magnetism, or a combination of them can be explained mathematically by these four equations. That is how powerful these equations are. So, what specific systems have rooted, no, from these Maxwell's equations? Can we give some specific electrical systems na pwede nating ma-explain yung paggana because of Maxwell's equations? Yes. For electrical systems, we use Maxwell's equations to explain the operation of electric generators. No? Yun yung una, yung generator. Bakit? Kasi ganito yan eh. Yung generator ang ginagamit natin para magkaroon tayo ng kuryente. So even in a power plant, there is a generator. Generator is one of the most important elements in a power plant because it's the one that converts mechanical energy into electrical energy. So the operation of the generator can be explained by one of these four equations. No? So the operation and the design of motors, we use Maxwell's equations to describe transformers and all the electrical appliances that you have, including your cell phones and your laptops. Ganyan ka-powerful ang Maxwell's equations. Now, not only electrical systems, we use Maxwell's equations to describe the nature of optical phenomena, which when we understood, we used the concepts in order to develop various optical technologies. For example, nung naintindihan na natin kung paano gumana ang optics, we were able to develop imaging devices like binoculars, telescopes, projectors, and of course your camera. No? Your camera is an optical device. It works using the principles of optics, and the laws that govern optics are essentially Maxwell's equations. Now, radio technologies and wireless communications, we use radio frequencies, microwave frequencies in order to communicate wirelessly. And what are radio waves and microwaves? Basically, they are electromagnetic waves. And basically, electromagnetic waves have rooted from Maxwell's equations. Okay, actually, Maxwell predicted that there were electromagnetic waves simply by looking at his math. Pero inyo yun, na-predict ni Maxwell na may mga electromagnetic wave gamit lang yung mga equations niya. And then, later on, someone confirmed that his predictions were true. Later, I'll discuss that. The point of this slide is for you to realize the impact, the huge impact of these Maxwell's equations in our modern life. Yung mga Maxwell's equations na yan, ang fundamental mathematical foundations ng practically all modern technologies and devices na meron tayo. Okay? Of course, hindi lahat. Kaya nga sabi ko, practically all, but not all. Kasi may quantum pa eh. No? So dito, classical lang yung i-discuss natin, hindi natin isasama yung quantum theory. Classical pa lang ito. Okay? Before we delve into understanding Maxwell's equations, let us discuss first who James Clerk Maxwell is. Okay? James Clerk Maxwell is actually a 19th century Scottish physicist and mathematician. He's considered to be one of the most prolific scientists or mathematician and physicist of all time. No? Sabi nga ni Einstein, the works of James Clerk Maxwell is the second most important fruits of science after the works of Isaac Newton. That is according to Albert Einstein. So this Scottish mathematical physicist who lived from 1831 to 1879 is the one who is best known for his theory of electromagnetic wave. And he unified electricity and magnetism. He's best known for his grand unification of electricity and magnetism. So he did it, of course, mathematically. Prior to his unification, electricity is electricity and magnetism is another thing, and they are not related in any way. No, but time came when Maxwell unified electricity and magnetism into a single phenomenon, which he called electromagnetism. And according to Einstein, kagaya nga na nabanggit ko kanina, this is the second major unification in science. after what Isaac Newton did. The first grand unification in physics is when Sir Isaac Newton unified the laws of gravity, no? Which is consistent with his laws of mechanics. The laws of mechanics that we use here on Earth are consistent with the laws of universal gravitation, which is the same laws that govern the motion of the planets around the sun. So it was Sir Isaac Newton who made the first grand unification in physics. Because the goal of physics, no, science, specifically in physics, is to unify nature. Because according to scientists, there should be a grand unification in nature. The first unification was done by Newton, and the second was done by Maxwell when he unified electricity and magnetism. According to Maxwell, electricity, magnetism, and light are actually different manifestations of the same phenomenon. No? They are like branches of the same tree. Electricity, magnetism, and light. No? They are just different manifestations of the same phenomenon. That's why we can consider that electricity, magnetism, and light are just one. Para bagang sa Catholic faith, meron tayong tatlong persona, no? Yung tatlong persona na ay parang iisa. So ganun din ito, no? Yung electricity, yung magnetism, at saka yung light, according to Maxwell, they are just one, no? They are branches coming out of the same tree. So he's well known for his development of the electromagnetic field theory. However, what paved Maxwell the way for his grand unification? Of course, before Maxwell unified electricity and magnetism, some personalities before him made significant contributions. Ano yung na-unify niya? Ay di natural, yung mga discoveries ng kanyang mga predecessors. At isa na dyan ay ang taong ito. No? Sino sa inyo ang nakaka-recognize sa taong ito? Can you name this person on the screen? Sino ito? Yes, that's right. Very good. This is Hans Christian Ørsted. No? Hans Christian Ørsted, who is a Danish physicist who lived from 1777 to 1851. What is the significant contribution of Ørsted? He was the first person to ever report the connection between electricity and magnetism. Actually, it was a myth, no? Yung kumakalat na kwento na accidentally na-discover ni Ørsted na may connection ang electricity at magnetism. Kasi minsan, aksidente sa kanyang pagle-lecture, gumalaw yung compass needle. Nung ang compass ay mapalapit sa isang electrical wire na may dumadaloy na kuryente. No? Actually, it was a myth. The truth is, Ørsted was actually trying to investigate the phenomenon. No? Kaso nga lang hindi niya ma-explain mathematically, no? But he was the first person to ever report that electricity and magnetism are somewhat related, no? Bakit? Kasi makikita natin kapag ang compass ay inilapit sa isang electrical wire na may dumadaloy na kuryente, yung compass needle na alam nating magnetic ay nagde-deflect. O, di ba? We know that compass is magnetic and the wire which carries current is electric. How can something electric affect something magnetic? Yun ang naisip niya. That's why he thought that electricity and magnetism must be related. No? Nagkakaroon ng effect yung electricity sa magnetism, which is proven when a compass needle has been deflected when placed close to a current-carrying conductor. But what was the dilemma of Ørsted? He doesn't really know how to express mathematically what he discovered until the news reached the other parts of Europe. No, specifically this person. No, can you name this person that I'm showing right now? Sino ang nakakakilala sa kulot na ito? This is not Faraday. This is not Faraday. Electric fields come from electric charges. Yun lang yun. No? Kung ang equation na ito ay nakakasigaw, ano ang gusto niyang isigaw at sabihin sa atin? Simple lang, these electric fields come from electric charges. Yun lang yun. No? Sir, anong ibig sabihin nung symbol na ito? This inverted triangle is what we call the del operator. The symbol is called nabla, but it's called the del operator. No? Now, when this triangle comes with this dot, no, it becomes an operation. No, in vector calculus, this operation is called the divergence. Ano po ang tawag? Ang tawag sa operation ay divergence. Okay. So, anong ibig sabihin ng divergence? Simple lang, no? Imagine sa isang point, no? Kapag in-evaluate mo ang divergence na isang vector, ibig sabihin lamang nun, may lumalabas doon sa point na yon. Something diverges out of the point. Something emanates from a point. No? So, anong ibig sabihin nito? Simple lang. Sa isang point, kung saan may electric charge, may nag-e-emanate na electric field. Kaya sinasabi natin, electric fields come from electric charges. Yun lang yun. Again, this triangle that comes with a dot forms what we call the divergence operation. No, anong ibig sabihin nun? Simple lang. The divergence operation tells us that at a point, no, something comes out of it. Something emanates from it, no? Ano yung something na yun? Eh di yung vector. Eh ano ba yung vector na yan? Electric field. Kaya ang sabi natin, electric field comes from a point where there are electric charges. So kung ating napansin, sa equation na ito, meron tayong cause and effect, no? Ano yung cause? Yung right hand side. Ano yung effect? Yung left hand side, no? Saan ang galing ang alin, no? Okay. Ang electric field ay nanggagaling sa mga electric charges. Yun lang yun. So ano ang pinanggalingan? Electric charge. No? Ano ang naging effect ng electric charge? Yung pagkakaroon ng electric field. So this equation has two parts. The left-hand side is the effect. The right-hand side is the cause. No? So pag ating ininterpret, simple lang. This electric charge is the one that produces electric field. Paano natin nalaman yan? Kasi sabi ng equation, the divergence of E is equal to rho over epsilon naught. So how do we interpret? Sa isang point, kung saan may electric charge, doon ay may nagda-diverge na electric field. Kung ita-translate natin into a more friendly language, sa isang point na nagtataglay ng electric charge, may nag-emanate or may nagda-diverge na electric field. Kaya sabi natin, saan nanggagaling ang electric field? Simple lang. Electric fields come from electric charges. That's it. Okay? O ngayon, anong tawag sa equation na iyan? Baka yung iba sa inyo alam, anong tawag dyan sa equation na iyan? Tingnan nga natin. Anong tawag? Ang tawag dyan ay, who among you can recognize this equation? It's called Gauss's law, sabi ni Mr. Parba. Yes, that's right. This is called Gauss's law. Pero lagyan natin ng specific detail. Gauss's law for electric fields. Why? Because there is another Gauss's law for magnetic fields, no? Which is basically the second equation, no? Okay. So in the second equation, anong meron? Meron tayong pangalawang vector quantity. Ano naman ang nire-represent nung B, no? This B represents magnetic. At ba ganito siya? Magnetic field. Pangit. Okay. So once again, this B represents the magnetic field. Okay. So ngayon, ang sabi ng equation, again, anong tawag dun sa operation? Ang divergence ng B ay 0. Okay. Ang tawag dyan ay Gauss's law. Okay. So later, I will discuss to you the meaning of this equation. No? Next is this equation. So here, we have two quantities, no, electric field and magnetic field. Kanina, electric field lang. And then another equation for magnetic field alone. But the third equation contains both electric and magnetic fields. So this implies that this third equation gives us what happens, no, when electric and magnetic fields are both present. So interaction sa pagitan ng electric at saka magnetic field. Ano? Okay. So anong tawag naman dito sa operation na triangle na may x or multiplication sign? Yan naman ang tinatawag natin na curl, no? This is the operation called curl. Kung ang del na may kasamang dot ay divergence, yung del operator na may kasamang multiplication sign or cross, ang tinatawag natin na curl operation. Sir, what does the curl operation imply and indicate? Simple lang. Kapag curl, ibig sabihin lang yan is nagke-create siya ng rotating effect. So, kumbaga, meron tayo ditong electric field, no? Na nagsi-circulate. Yun ang nire-represent nun. Ano? And once again, we would like to use the analogy with this equation. The right-hand side is the cause and the left-hand side is the effect. So the curl of E is equal to the negative of dB over dt. Anong tawag sa equation na ito na nagpapakita ng relationship sa pagitan ng electric at saka magnetic field? Ito ang tinatawag na Faraday's law. No? Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, or simply Faraday's law. Okay? And the last equation is this. The curl of B is equal to mu naught J plus mu naught epsilon naught times the partial derivative of E with respect to T. Okay. So here we have another equation containing both magnetic field and electric field. So anong ini-imply niya? Simple lang. This equation again gives us an interaction between electric and magnetic field, no? And it makes use of the curl operation. So mamaya i-explain ko sa inyo kung anong ibig sabihin niyan. Iniisa-isa lang natin para hindi biglaan, ano? Una, ini-introduce ko sa inyo ang mga quantities, no? Yung E, anong tawag sa E? Electric field. Yung B, anong nire-represent nung B? Magnetic field. Yung del na may dot, ang tawag ay divergence. At yung del na may cross, ang tawag ay curl. So therefore, Maxwell's equations consist of 4 equations with divergence and curl. So ano pala yan? It is the divergence and the curl that serves as the language of Maxwell's equations, no? There are only 2 operations needed, no, or that is used to write Maxwell's equations. Dalawang divergence at dalawang curl. O ngayon, anong tawag dito sa last equation na ito? Actually, yung curl ng B na equal sa mu naught J, ang tawag dyan ay Ampere's law. Yan ang na-discover ni Ampere, no? The curl of B is equal to mu naught J. You call it Ampere's law. But what is the most significant contribution of Maxwell here? It is the addition of this term, no? Itong term na ito, idinagdag niya para maging consistent ang mga equation sa isa't isa. At nung idagdag niya ang equation na yan, dun siya nakapag-predict na may mga electromagnetic waves. At dahil minodify ni Maxwell ang law na nakapangalan kay Ampere, yung Ampere's law ay tinatawag natin ngayong Ampere-Maxwell law. Okay? Ampere-Maxwell law. So ngayon nakita na natin yung 4 na Maxwell's equations. Ano nga pong meron sa Maxwell's equations? Yung dalawang equation, divergence. Yung dalawang equations ay curl. No? Yung unang dalawa, divergence ng electric field at divergence ng magnetic field, no? Yun namang pangatlo at pang-apat, curl ng electric field, curl ng magnetic field. So kung mapapansin nyo, symmetric. That's why I believe that nature is really symmetrical, no? There is symmetry in nature. Dalawang divergence, dalawang curl. Dalawang electric field, dalawang magnetic field, no? That's why we will be moved to think that nature is really beautiful, because here we see that even in mathematics there is symmetry, no? And of course we use mathematics to describe the nature of things around us. Okay? Dalawang curl, dalawang divergence. Divergence ng electric field, divergence ng magnetic field. Curl ng electric field, curl ng magnetic field. Okay? So, later ko na lang i-discuss kung ano ang ibig sabihin ng mga yan. Ang mahalaga, maging familiar tayo dun sa equation. Ano? Okay. At alam na natin kung anong pangalan nila. Ngayon, ano naman yung integral form ng Maxwell's equations? Yan yung form na naka-integral, no? So for Gauss's law, this is the integral form of Gauss's law, no? This term represents the flux, no? Simple lang, ang term na ito ay nagre-represent sa flux. At ang term naman na ito ay nagre-represent sa charge, no? This is the flux and this is the charge. So basically, what can we translate this into words? This equation simply tells us that the flux equals the charge. The flux equals the charge. And basically, that is the formal statement of Gauss's law. Kaya sabi ko sa inyo kanina, when it comes to the actual statement of the law, mas nakikita natin yung statement ng law dun sa integral form. Kasi kapag binasa mo yung equation, no, literally, yun na yung statement ng law. Ito yun, no? The total flux is equal to the total charge. Nag-integrate tayo kaya total. No, kinuha mo yung total flux, yung quantity na kinumpute mo. At yung nasa right-hand side, yun naman yung total charge. That's why we can state Gauss's law in this manner. The total electric flux in a closed. Kita natin, may bilog. So, this circle in the integral indicates that the surface that we're talking about is a closed surface. Itong S na ito, nag-i-indicate siya na mayroon kang surface. And the surface is closed. So imagine in a closed surface, may flux na nag-e-emanate. At according to Gauss's law, yung daw total flux na yon equal sa total charge na nasaan? Na nasa loob noong surface. Okay? Sunod. Yung Gauss's law for magnetic fields, anong itsura niyan sa integral form? Simple lang, integral of B dot ds is equal to 0. So, ano yan? Again, ito yung tinatawag naman natin na magnetic flux. No? Magnetic. Ipagpaumanhin na po ninyo, hindi gumagana ng maayos. Kung kailan naman kailangan. Nag-orientation ako kahapon, gumagana yung pen tablet ko, ngayon hindi na. Someone set me up. Ano ba yan? So kung meron tayong electric flux, meron tayong magnetic flux. So how do we read this equation? Because there is an integral sign here, we say that the total, no? The total. Total what? Flux. What type of flux? Magnetic flux. So the total magnetic flux, where? Through a closed, kasi may bilog, to a closed surface, kasi ds, is equal to 0. That is the actual statement of the law. But what it means, I will discuss later in the next slide. Now, for the meantime, isa-isahin natin para hindi kayo ma-overwhelm. Basahin natin yung equation, basahin natin. The total magnetic flux through a closed surface equals 0. Gawin na lang nating laser pointer. Yan. Ayan. Next equation, Faraday's law. Okay. Anong nire-represent nung nasa left-hand side? This left-hand side represents what we call the induced voltage. Anong tawag sa law? Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. So, basically, may na-induce. Ano yung na-induce? Ang na-induce ay voltage. So this term here is the induced voltage. No? Saan equal ang induced voltage? Uy, derivative. Alam naman natin sa math, anong derivative? Rate of change. Oh, di ba? Uy, B dot ds. Oops, kagaya nun. Ano nga po yung integral ng B dot ds? What does the integral of B dot ds represent? Sinong makakasagot niyan? Pwede nyo pong i-chat. Anong nire-represent ng integral of B dot ds? It is the, yeah, that's right. It's the magnetic flux. So, kung kinunan mo ng derivative ang magnetic flux, anong ibig sabihin nun? The rate of change ng magnetic flux. So paano natin sasabihin yung law? Simple lang. Ano nga ulit yung nasa left-hand side? This quantity here represents the induced voltage. So according to Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, the induced voltage is proportional to the rate of change in the magnetic flux. That is the statement of the law. O, di ba? Di ba ang galing? Pag binasa mo yung equation, yung pagkakabasa mo ng equation, yun na mismo yung statement ng law. Okay? And lastly, komplikado ito, no? B.dl, no? B.dl. Dahil siya ay masyadong komplikado, dun ko na lang siya i-discuss sa next na slide. Now, mag-review na lang muna tayo. Mag-review na lang tayo. Ano nga po yung nire-represent nung B? Ano po yung nire-represent nung B? Hello? Magnetic field, that's right. How about E? Anong nire-represent nung E? Yes, that's right, electric field. Okay, so guys, ladies and gentlemen, these are Maxwell's equations. Kaso nga lang, lagyan natin ng specific description. These are Maxwell's equations in free space. Kaya nga po, yung mga constant dito, ito permittivity. Permittivity of free space. No? Yung mu, permeability of free space. So these equations tell us the behavior of electric and magnetic fields in free space. Not only the behavior but the interaction of electric and magnetic fields in free space. Di ba? Ngayon, sir, may tanong ako. Paano kung hindi free space? Di ba? Paano mag-interact ang electric at magnetic field kung hindi na free space? Simple lang, no? Ang mga equations na ito ay nagsasabi sa atin na magbabago ang behavior ng electric field at ng magnetic field depende sa material kung saan sila present. Bakit? Kasi kung halimbawa, may material na present, ang gagamitin mong permittivity, permittivity ng material. No? Ang gagamitin mong permeability, permeability ng material. So this implies that the material in which the electric and magnetic fields are present have an effect on the behavior of electric and magnetic fields. But as for our discussion, we will only consider free space conditions. Maliwanag po ba? Hello, guys? Are you still with me? Are you still with me? Hello? Hi? Okay. Isa-isahin natin to ha. Isa-isahin natin. Una, ano nga yung tawag dun sa unang law? Gauss's law. No? Okay. Sino ang matapang na pwedeng mag-recite dyan? No? Ano ang equation na nagre-represent sa Gauss's law? Anyone? Who can recite? Yung differential form, anong equation nung Gauss's law na differential form? Kung inyong natatandaan, anong equation yon? Hello, guys? Mahihain sila. Kung natatandaan ninyo, ano nga yung equation? The divergence of E is equal to rho V divided by epsilon naught. No? Okay. So, let us digest this equation. Anong ibig sabihin ng equation na ito? Simple lang. This operation is called divergence. So, ang ini-indicate niya, no, ay ang pag-diverge or pag-emanate ng isang field mula sa isang point. Yun lang po ang nire-represent niya, no? It only indicates that a vector field emanates from a point. But what vector field do we have? We have electric field. So anong ibig sabihin nito? Simple lang, ang electric field ay nag-e-emanate sa isang point na nagtataglay ng ano? Ano nga po yung nire-represent ng rho v? Ano yung nire-represent ng rho v? Charge. So how do we interpret this equation? Electric fields come from electric charges because this very equation would tell us that wherever there is an electric charge, at that point, there will diverge or emanate electric field. Di ba? So, yun lang, ano? Napakasimple ng gustong sabihin sa atin ng equation na yan. Napakasimple, no? Ano nga kanina pala yung sinasabi ng law? Mamaya na yun. Ayan, no? The net flux is equal to the total charge. Di ba? Yan yung statement ng law. The total electric flux through any closed surface, ito yung closed surface, is equal to the charge inside. Yun lang yun, no? Pero, ang sabi ng law, dapat ang surface ay closed, no? Dapat ang surface ay closed. Kung ang closed surface ay may laman na charge sa loob, no, gaano karami yung flux na ma-generate niya? Yung flux ay equal doon sa charge na nasa loob ng closed surface. That is the actual statement of the law. But more important than that, more important than the statement of the law itself, ano ang mahalagang ini-imply ng Gauss's law? Ito na yung sinabi ko sa inyo. Electric fields come from electric charges. That's it. Electric fields are generated by electric charges. So kung saang region may electric charge, doon sa region na yon, sigurado ako may electric field. Bakit? Kasi walang ibang pwedeng panggalingan ang electric field other than electric charges. Why? Because that is what the equation tells us. Electric fields can only diverge from a point where there are electric charges. O, di ba? Napakasimple, no? Napakasimple. O ngayon, imagine free space, no? Imagine ang free space. At alam natin kung yan ay free space, walang electric charges na present. Doon kaya sa region ng free space na walang electric charge na present, magkakaroon kaya ng electric field? Yes or no? In a region that is free of electric charges, do you think electric field will be present in that region? Yes or no? Answer? Hindi. Bakit? Kasi nga, ang sabi ng law, ang electric field ay nanggagaling sa mga electric charges. So kung sa isang region of space ay walang charge, sigurado tayo walang electric field doon. O ngayon, if in a region of space may electric field, sigurado tayo saan nanggaling yon. Walang ibang pinanggalingan yan kung hindi mga electric charges. O di ba? Ganun lang, napaka-basic. No? Ngayon, the mathematics of this will tell us kasi guys, yung math niyan may makukuha tayong sagot. Ganito. Kapag in-evaluate mo ang divergence sa isang vector, ang makukuha mo either positive, negative, or zero. No? So kung positive, anong ibig sabihin nun? Ang flux ay palabas. So kung ito ay isang point, at sa point na ito, ang divergence na nakuha mo ay positive, yung flux ay palabas. O di ang itsura ng flux palabas. Ayan. Ngayon, kung sa isang point, no? Sa isang point, ang divergence ay negative, anong ibig sabihin nun? Ang flux ay papasok, no? Ang flux ay papasok. That's why we say that positive charges are sources and negative charges are sinks, no? Bakit? Kasi para siyang sink, no? Alam niyo naman yung sink ng lababo, no? Doon pumapasok yung tubig. It's as if water is entering the hole. That's why we call that point is a sink. Because the flux tend to be drawn into it. No? So ano ang mahalagang implication ng mathematics na mayroon dito? Napakasimple lang. No? Kung positive ang charge, pasan ang electric field? Palayo. Kasi kita natin yung flux ay palayo. At kung negative ang charge, dapat ang electric field directed towards the charge. Kasi kita natin, ang negative na charge ay sink. So what is the important conclusion here? The important conclusion is that electric fields are always directed away from positive and towards negative charges. Those are the important implications of this Maxwell's equation. O di ba? So, itong Maxwell equation na yan, kahit na nakikita natin na yan ay mukhang komplikado, no? More than the mathematics, no? We should be able to understand what it means. Kaya natin nalaman na ang electric field ay away from the positive and directed towards the negative is because of the math involved in this equation. That's why mathematics is very powerful. We use it to describe the nature of things around us. Okay? So electric charges are the sources of electric fields. Electric fields originate from positive charges and they terminate on negative charges. Okay? Yun ang mahalagang lesson na makukuha natin sa equation na ito, na tinatawag na Gauss's law for electric fields. Okay? So, let us move on to the next equation. The second equation is Gauss's law for magnetic fields. Kung inyong natatandaan, ano ang itsura ng Gauss's law for magnetic fields? Ano nga po yung equation na yon? The equation, the divergence of B is equal to 0. No? Yan yung equation, the divergence of B is 0. Anong ibig sabihin yan? Mathematically kasi, kapag ka ang isang vector, 0 ang divergence, ang tawag dyan ay continuous. No? Okay, that's the background, the mathematical background. A vector whose divergence is 0 is called a continuous vector. So here we have the divergence of B being equal to 0. So what can we say about B, which we know as magnetic field? Di ba doon pa lang may interpretation na tayo. Anong sinasabi sa atin ng equation na ito? This equation tells us directly that magnetic field is a continuous field. Napakahalaga nun. Bakit? Hindi sa kagaya ng electric field. Bakit? Because electric fields may originate and terminate, no, at a point. No? Electric fields originate from positive charges. So if at a point there is a positive charge, electric fields will originate from that point. No? So kumbaga, ang electric field, pwede nating i-drawing na may simula at may katapusan. Saan sila nagsisimula? Sa positive na charge. At saan sila nagte-terminate? Sa nagtatapos ang electric field? Sa negative na charge. So hindi pwedeng mag-terminate ang electric field sa isang region of space na walang charge. There has to be some negative charge for the electric field to terminate. Yun ang sabi nung Gauss's law kanina. Gauss's law for electric fields. Ano naman yung sinasabi nito? Kung ang magnetic field ay continuous, siya ay walang katapusan. Anong ibig sabihin nun? Walang simula at walang katapusan, walang dulo. So therefore, it forms a closed loop. No? That is the implication of the law. Kaya natin nalaman kung anong itsura ng magnetic field. Ang magnetic field ay laging nagfo-form ng closed loop. Yun. Pakita ko sa inyo ito ang magnet. Ayan, no? So makita natin ang isang bar magnet may north at saka may south, 'di ba? May north at saka may south 'yan. Ngayon, kita natin ang direction ng magnetic field ay nakaturo away from the north and towards the south. Di sir, sabi mo kanina, nag-originate siya. Yes, at nag-e-end, nagte-terminate. Ang hindi mo alam sa loob ng magnet, 'yan ay hindi naputol. 'Yan ay tuloy-tuloy, no? Tuloy-tuloy 'yan sa loob. Always forming a closed loop. Okay? So, ano ang mahalagang message na mayroon na makukuha natin mula sa Gauss's law for magnetic fields? Simple lang, no? Dahil sa Gauss's law for magnetic fields, alam natin, no? Alam natin na ang magnetic field ay laging nagfo-form ng closed loop. Ano naman ngayon? Here comes the important part. No? Para mag-form ng closed loop ang magnetic field, kinakailangan yung magnet ay may north at south pole. Yun ang napakahalagang consequence ng equation na ito. Anong ibig sabihin? Di dapat lahat ng magnet dalawa ang poles. Yun. Yun ang mahalaga dyan. So ngayon, alam natin, lahat ng magnets ay may dalawang poles. Bakit? Kasi yun ang sabi ng Gauss's law. Kasi ang divergence niya ay zero. No? Sir, edi putulin ko yung magnet. Pag pinutol mo yung magnet, magkakaroon ng panibagong south yung north. Kung ito yung original na north, yung baba magiging south. At yung kaninang south magpuproduce ng panibagong north. Kahit ilang beses mo silang putulin. No? A magnet would always have a north pole and a south pole. Okay? Even an electromagnet in the form of a solenoid, no? Yung solenoid na electromagnet, no? Actually, ang shape ng magnetic field niyan ganun din, no? Kagaya ng magnetic field ng bar magnet. Kaya tinatawag natin ang ganyang shape na solenoidal, no? Na ang term na yan, it was actually coined by Ampere himself, no? Solenoidal. Okay? Yung ganyang shape ng magnetic field na walang simula at katapusan because it always form a closed loop. Solenoidal. Okay? Walang magnetic field na putol, no? Unlike electric field na nagte-terminate sa positive, sa negative at nagsisimula sa positive charge. Iyon ang ikinaiba ng dalawang fields, no? Electric fields may originate or terminate on negative charges, but magnetic fields are not like that. Because it is a continuous field, then it would always have to form closed loops. Now, the immediate consequence of this statement is that for the magnetic field to form closed loop, kinakailangan yung magnet dalawa ang poles. That's why we say that all magnets have two poles. Yan naman ang ikinaiba ng mga magnet sa sa charges. Kasi ang mga charges pwedeng individually positive or negative. Pero sa isang magnet hindi pwedeng north lang or south lang, no? Dapat lagi magkasama yung north at saka south. So that means that there are no magnetic monopoles, no? There have been a lot of experiments conducted by researchers, no? And mula noon hanggang ngayon, wala pang nade-demonstrate kahit saan, kahit kailan na may nakita or na-report ang mga scientists na magnetic monopoles, no? Binabasa ako, in theory, it is possible, but that is in theory, no? But in real life, no magnetic monopoles have ever been discovered or observed, no? At bakit? Bakit lahat ng magnets may dalawang poles? Kasi yun ang sabi ng Maxwell's equation na ito. Ayan, no? The divergence of B is zero. Kung yan ay hindi zero, o hindi tayo makakakita ng magnetic monopole, no? So pag kinunan mo ng divergence ang B, dapat ay laging zero, no? Otherwise, kung hindi yan magzi-zero, then yung magnetic field mapuputol, no? Magiging broken siya and it will no longer form a closed loop. But since the equation tells us that the divergence of B is zero, then the magnetic field always have to form closed loops. Okay? Di ba ang galing? Ako natutuwa ako, no? Kasi we interpret the math behind Maxwell's equations here, no? And the interpretation of these equations is what matters, no? It is not the equation itself which is important, but the implications, no? The interpretations of these equations, no? Kaya nga tayo naka-develop ng iba't ibang klaseng technology kasi na-interpret natin ang mga equations na ito. Okay? All magnets have two poles. Okay, next. Anong oras na? Patapos na po tayo. No? Sana matapos tayo before 9. The next is Faraday's law. No? Kung inyong natatandaan, tapos na tayo sa dalawang divergence. Ang natitirang dalawang equations ay nagtataglay ng curl. Yung una, curl ng electric field. Ito yon, no? So ano yung Faraday's law? The curl of E, sulat natin. The curl of E is equal to the negative of the partial derivative of B with respect to T. Ayan. So here, may interaction na ng electric at magnetic field. Kasi kanina wala na walang interaction kanina. Kasi yung una, that is an equation which consists of electric field alone. The second equation contains magnetic field alone. But this third equation contains both electric and magnetic field. This is called Faraday's law. So, meron tayong electric field dito at meron tayong magnetic field doon. So, guys, ulitin natin yung analogy kanina na ang right-hand side ang cause at ang left-hand side ay effect. No? So, this electric field here is an effect. No? And the right-hand side is the cause. So, what causes the electric field? No? What causes the electric field? What causes the electric field is a changing. Sir, bakit changing? Kasi may derivative eh. We know that the derivative means rate of change. So, ano ang nagbabago? B. Ano ba yung B? Magnetic field. So kung ang equation na ito ay nakakapagsalita, anong gusto niya sabihin sa atin? Kapag ang magnetic field ay nagva-vary with time, it creates electric field. Napakasimple. Anong sabi niya? A changing magnetic field creates electric field. Yun lang yun. Saan daw nanggagaling ang electric field? Doon sa magnetic field na nagva-vary with time. No, yun po ang ibig sabihin ng right-hand side. It is magnetic field that varies with time. So kung ang magnetic field ay steady, hindi nagfa-fluctuate, hindi nagbabago-bago, static yun. No? That will not generate electric field. What creates electric field is a magnetic field that varies with time. No? Kasi yun ang sabi ng equation. The magnetic field that varies or fluctuates with time. Ano ang kanyang napoproduce? Siya ay nagke-create ng electric field na nagva-vary din with time. Ay may curl. So ibig sabihin, nagkakaroon ng circulation, no? Ang magnetic field na nagva-vary with time ay nagke-create ng circulating electric field, no? Why circulating? Because the very operation here, which we call the curl, yung del operator na may kasamang chorus, ang tawag ay curl. And what does it represent? It represents something that is rotating. Something that is rotating, no? Something that is circulating. Ano ba yung something na kinukunan mo ng curl? So, anong ibig sabihin nito? There is a circulating electric field. Ay, shit. Ganun pala yun. Yes. At saan ang galing ang circulating electric field? Doon sa time-varying magnetic field. So, I hope everyone would agree that this equation can simply be interpreted this way. No? Ito na yun. A changing magnetic field creates an electric field. No? Kaya nga, electromagnetism ito. Electricity or magnetism creates electricity. And this very equation is the reason why a generator works. Diba? Hindi gagana ang generator kung hindi dahil sa Faraday's law. So that means to say that Faraday's law is the underlying principle behind the operation of a generator. At dahil sa generator na naimbento ng mga tao, nagkaroon ng kuryente sa buong mundo. Di ba ang galing? So kung walang Maxwell's equation, walang generator. Kung walang generator, walang kuryente sa mundo natin. No? At hindi magiging ganun ka-modern yung mundo natin ngayon. Kaya sinasabi ko sa inyo yung impact, no? Napakalaking impact ng mga equations na ito sa buhay natin. Okay? Faraday's law. Okay? A changing magnetic field creates a circulating electric field. O ano naman ngayon? Kung may electric field, anong nangyayari? Nagkakaroon ng tinatawag na voltage. So this is where magnetism creates electricity. Yes. Kaya kasi isang generator, no, may magnet, no? Kapag nagkaroon ng motion, yung magnetism nagke-create ng electricity. Okay? Bakit? Kasi yung electric field na yan ang mag-establish ng potential difference na tinatawag natin na voltage. Ang tawag dun sa voltage, yun yung induced voltage. So, ngayon, kung doon sa region na may induced voltage ay may conductor, anong mangyayari? Dito sa conductor may dadaloy na kuryente kasi may voltage. Kaya nakita na natin ngayon kung paano nagpo-produce ng kuryente ang magnetism. No? It is because of Faraday's law. Okay? From a magnet, we were able to create electricity. However, kinakailangan nagva-vary ang magnetic field. No? Sir, paano natin magagawa na nagva-vary ang magnetic field? Kinakailangan, kung ako ay may magnet, may relative motion sa pagitan ng magnet at saka ng conductor. Tanong, sinasabi natin na ang electric field ay nagkikreate ng induced voltage. No, gaano kalaki yung voltage na na-induce? Yung induced voltage, no, V induced, sabi nung integral equation kanina ay equal sa negative dV over dt. Ito yun, no? Yung flux, no? The induced voltage is proportional to the rate of change in the magnetic flux. Yan yung nakita natin kanina sa integral equation, no? Yung induced voltage na integral ng E dot dl is equal to negative of the partial derivative with respect to T of B dot ds. So, itong integral ng B dot ds, yan yung magnetic flux. Kapag ang magnetic flux nagva-vary with time, nagke-create ng induced voltage. No? So ngayon, gaano kalaki ang induced voltage? Proportional sa rate of change ng magnetic flux. Ngayon, i-demonstrate natin kung paano nagke-create ng electricity ang magnetism. Look at this diagram. Nakikita nyo na po ba yung animation? Can you now see the animation, guys?
Yes po, engineer.
Okay, so here we have a bar magnet and a meter that indicates that current is produced in the conductor. Okay? As you can see, kapag iginalaw natin yung magnet, no? Doon sa conductor, anong nangyayari? Ito yung start. Ito yung start. Gumalaw siya. Nag-create siya ng voltage. Ayun, no? Positive voltage. Tapos nung hindi na gumagalaw, nag-zero. Kailan lang siya nag-generate or nag-i-induce ng voltage? Okay, observe this video. Observe this video. Only when is voltage induced in the conductor, kailan lamang nagkakaroon ng induced voltage doon sa conductor? Anyone? Tama, kapag gumagalaw. Yes, kapag gumagalaw. So kapag hindi na gumagalaw yung conductor or yung magnet relative to the conductor, walang voltage na napoproduce. Bakit? Kasi yun ang sabi ng equation, ayan, no? Only when the magnetic field varies with time, no? Nung gumagalaw yung magnet relative to the conductor, that is the time when the magnetic field varies with time. So, when the magnet is stationary relative to the conductor, there is no change in magnetic field. Kaya, ayan, nagsi-zero. Okay, nagsi-zero. Okay? Pero nung hinila natin, anong nangyayari sa voltage? Nagne-negative. Anong ibig sabihin nun? Nagre-reverse ang polarity ng voltage na na-produce kapag nagbabago ang direction, no, nung paggalaw. Okay? So this is how magnetism creates electricity. Okay? Kinakailangan may relative motion sa pagitan ng magnet at nung conductor para magkaroon ng changing magnetic flux and changing magnetic field. Only then can we have induced voltage. Sir, paano kung wala akong magnet? Paano kung electromagnet? Pwede ba yan? Yes. Tingnan nyo to. Wala tayong bar magnet, pero meron tayo isang solenoid. No? Kung sa solenoid na ito, on at off yan, on at off. Pag ini-off ko, walang kuryente. Pag naka-off, walang kuryente. Pag ini-on ko, magkakakuryente. Ayun, no? Gumagalaw yung meter. Okay. Or, posible, ang padaanin natin, okay, can you see guys, there is no connection between the coil of wire and the solenoid. There is no connection. Okay? This is an electromagnet. No? There is no direct connection between the electromagnet and the coil of wire in which the voltage is induced. Okay. If I will pass an alternating current in the electromagnet, no? Alternating current, no? The alternating current would produce a magnetic field, no, that varies with time. Since the magnetic field varies with time, magkakaroon tayo ng induced voltage doon sa conductor na nakakabit sa meter. Okay? So again, this animation shows Faraday's law. How it works, no? Magnetism creates electricity. But for magnetism to create electricity, your magnetic field has to vary with time. If the magnetic field is constant or uniform, there is no induced voltage. No electric field will be created. Okay? So before we leave the slide, what is the most important message of Faraday's law? The most important message is that a changing magnetic field creates electric field. Yun lang yun, no? Now let's go to the last one, no? Ampere-Maxwell law. This originally came from the equation formulated by Maxwell, no? Anong equation ang na-formulate ni Maxwell? The curl of the magnetic field is equal to mu naught times J. This was the original equation. We call it Ampere's law. So how do we interpret Ampere's law? Simple lang, again, may cause at may effect, no? Ano yung cause? Yung right-hand side, no? What can we see at the right-hand side? Mu naught, which is just a constant, multiplied by J. Okay. Who among you knows this vector quantity? What vector quantity is represented by J? Ano yung J na nasa equation na yan? Current, that's right. No? That's current. But what makes up electric current? What makes up electric current? Anyone? What makes up electric current? Electron charge? Not quite. Paano kung hindi electron? Diba? Paano ba nagkakaroon ng kuryente? Ha? What makes up electric current? That's right. Exactly. No, moving electric charges. No, electric current is basically electric charges in motion. No, so if we are to interpret this equation, how do we interpret it? If the right hand side is the source and the left hand side is the effect. No, ito ang nagpo-produce, ito yung na-produce. So electric currents produce what? B, magnetic field. Yun yung mahalaga doon. No? Saan pala nanggagaling ang magnetic field? Itong equation na ito, no, ang nagsasabi sa atin kung saan pwedeng manggaling ang magnetic field. What is the answer? What is the source of all magnetic fields that we know today? We know that they can only come from moving electric charges. Diba? In the same way, saan nanggagaling ang electric field? Diba? Saan nanggagaling ang electric field? Gauss's law tells us that electric fields are produced by electric charges. How about magnetic fields? Ganon din, no? Magnetic fields are produced by electric charges, but this time, may addition. Electric charges which are in motion. Moving electric charges. So, only moving electric charges generate magnetic field. Kapag ang electric charge hindi gumagalaw, ang makreate niya lang electric field. Kapag yung charge gumalaw na, may electric field siya na-produce, in addition to that, may magnetic field pa. Yes. Yun ang mahalagang bagay na gustong ituro sa atin ng equation na ito. Now, again, what is our interpretation of Ampere's law? Ampere's law simply tells us that magnetic fields are a consequence of moving electric charges. No? Because moving electric charges generate magnetic field. Pero din again, may curl na operation. Anong nire-represent ng curl na ito? Ibig sabihin, yung magnetic field mo nagsisirculate. Yes. Okay? Nagsisirculate. Ngayon, kung ang electric current ko ay steady, yung magnetic field na mapoproduce ko ay steady rin. I repeat, no? If this electric current is steady or constant, the magnetic field that will be produced is also constant or steady. Okay? And here comes the important contribution of Maxwell. No? Anong nai-contribute ni Maxwell? Dinagdagan niya yan ng panibagong term. No? Dinagdagan niya. Ano yung dinagdag niya? Mu naught epsilon naught times the partial derivative of E with respect to T. Yan. No? So kung ito ay current, ano ito? Ay hindi mo naman pwedeng i-add ang current at saka voltage. You can only add current to another current. Do you agree? Yes, you should. No? So, kung ito ay kuryente, malamang ito kuryente din. Yes, that's right. Ito ang tinatawag natin na displacement current. No? Yan ang tinatawag na displacement current. So ito yung current na dumadaloy sa conductor. Para ma-distinguish, yan ang tinatawag naman na conduction. Conduction current. Okay, o ngayon, puntahan natin yung contribution ni Maxwell. Now, the very fact that he added this term would imply that we have an electric field E. No? At may derivative with respect to T. So that means the electric field varies with time. No? So ano ibig sabihin nito? Na-discover ni Maxwell na ang electric field na nagva-vary with time, nagke-create din ng magnetic field. Ayun. So, dalawa na ngayon ang pwedeng panggalingan ng magnetic field. Una, moving electric charges, which is basically electric current. And in addition to that, Maxwell discovered that a changing electric field, a changing electric field creates magnetic field. That circulates. So, if this electric field varies with time, the magnetic field that it produces also varies with time. Shit! Ibig sabihin ito. Anong na-discover ni Maxwell? If the electric field varies with time, it creates magnetic field. That also varies with time. But we can go back to what Faraday discovered, no? Faraday discovered that magnetic field that varies with time, creates an electric field that also varies with time. So wala itong katapusan. Bakit? Kasi yung electric field, magkikreate ng magnetic field. Yung magnetic field, magkikreate ng electric field. Electric creating magnetic, magnetic creating electric in a never-ending harmony. Yun ang na-discover ni Maxwell. How profound is that? How profound is that? Very profound. Because it enabled him to predict what we call electromagnetic waves. Di ba ang galing? Ako na-amaze ako, ewan ko sa inyo, no? Una, magnetic fields are produced by moving electric charges. Yan yung original na Ampere's law. And secondly, when Maxwell added the second term to account for the displacement current, we can say that changing electric field produces magnetic field. But he knows at that time Faraday's law. Alam niya na ang Faraday's law noon eh. Kung ang electric field nagbabago, makikreate siya ng magnetic field. At alam niya na ang magnetic field na nagva-vary with time makikreate ng electric field. E di paulit-ulit ito. So ngayon, ang conclusion niya, ay kung ito pala paulit-ulit, wala itong katapusan. Anong naisip niya? Nakaisip siya ng isang entity, no? Na binubuo ng electric at magnetic field, no? Isang entity na binubuo ng electric at magnetic field. Okay? Anong entity ito? Ito ang tinatawag niyang electromagnetic wave. Why? Because at that time, alam niya na ang wave equation. Sir, ano yung wave equation? Ito ang wave equation, ha? This is a partial differential equation which is already known at that time. No? The Laplacian of the wave u is equal to 1 over v squared multiplied by the second partial derivative of u with respect to t. This is what we call the wave equation. No? Ngayon, dun sa apat na equations, dalawa lang ang ginamit niya. No? Okay, gumamit siya ng dalawa doon. Ano yon? Yung una, curl ng E ay negative dB over dt. At saka ito yung pangalawa. no? Yung ginamit niya lang ay itong dalawang ito. He used the third and the fourth equations to formulate an equation which he called the wave equation, no? Ano 'yun? Yung nung minanipulate niya actually ito, gagamitan mo kasi ito ng vector identity na medyo komplikado, baka mamaya maumay kayo, kaya hindi ko na-explain, ano. Basta sa madaling sabi is, minanipulate niya ang equation 3 at equation 4. Itong equation 3, Faraday's law. At sa equation 4, Ampere-Maxwell law. Basically, kinuna niya lang ng curl, no? Kinuna niya 'to ng curl, kinuna niya 'to ng curl, tapos of course, minanipulate niya yung equation. Ang nakuha niya ay isang equation ng electric field, no, na nagsasatisfy sa wave equation. Ito 'yon, no? Is equal to mu naught epsilon naught times the second partial derivative of E with respect to T. Yan ang nakuha niya. Ulitin ko ha. Nung kinahanan niya to ng coil, nung kinuha niya to ng curl, tapos pinag-substitute niya sa isa't isa, no, ito ang nakuha niya. No? Basically, this is what he obtained. No? Kung ating titingnan, kamukha niya yung wave equation. So, anong ibig sabihin yan? Simple lang, no? Ang electric field ay nagbe-behave na parang isang wave. O, di ba? Ano ibig sabihin nun? Uulitin ko. Ang electric field ay nagbe-behave na parang isang wave. O, akalain nyo, hindi lang sa electric field nag-satisfy, no? Even the magnetic field satisfy the wave equation, no? He was also able to formulate an equation similar to this, but this time it involves magnetic field. So mu naught epsilon naught times the second partial derivative of B with respect to T. This is the wave equation for the magnetic field. No? So now, ano na yung alam niya? Alam niya na ang electric field wave-like at ang magnetic field ay wave-like. Ngayon, kung ang mga yan ay wave-like, nagva-vary siya with time. At kung nagva-vary yan with time, yung electric magkikreate ng magnetic, yung magnetic magkikreate ng electric at walang katapusan yan. So anong na-imagine ni Maxwell? Maxwell imagined that there must be some sort of a wave consisting of electric and magnetic field that oscillates, no? Changes with time. Electric field creating magnetic field, and magnetic field creating electric field in a never-ending harmony. So, imagine an electric field and a magnetic field that varies with time. Imagine ka ng sine wave na voltage, no? I mean, sine wave na electric field. Mag-imagine ka ng sine wave na magnetic field, no? At yung dalawang yun ay intertwined, no? Yung mga wave na yan na binubuo ng electric at magnetic field intertwined together, regenerating each other in a never-ending harmony is what he called the electromagnetic wave. Ang galing, no? Biruin mo, math lang yung ginamit ni Maxwell para makapag-predict na may mga electromagnetic waves. Super galing niya, promise, super galing niya. Napakagaling ni Maxwell. Diba? Kasi yung observation natin sa nature, no? Na-interpret natin mula sa math. According to Maxwell, there must be some form of a wave consisting of electric and magnetic fields recreating each other in a never-ending, endless harmony. That is what we call the electromagnetic wave. O ngayon, hindi pa tapos. Bakit? Ito ang mas nakakatuwa dyan. Mas nakakahindik. No? Mas nakakagulat. No? Ano yon? Ito yung wave equation, di ba magkamukha sila? Kaya nga tinabi natin na ito yung wave equation ng electric field at ito yung wave equation ng magnetic field. No? Sir, ano yung V sa wave equation? Yung V na yan ang ano? Ang velocity ng wave. No? Yan ang velocity ng wave. So ngayon, pwede nating malaman yung velocity ng electric at saka magnetic field na wave. Kasi dito pwede nating computein yun. Ayun, no? 1 over V squared must be equal to mu naught times epsilon naught. So pag kinumpute natin yung V, ano yan? Ay di 1 over the square root of mu naught epsilon naught. Ayan. O, di ba? Guys, sa calculator pwede nating makuha ang value niyan. No? Kasi sa calcu, constant 32 at constant 33 ito. Di ba? O, ngayon, nung time ba ni Maxwell, alam nila yung values niyan? Yes, of course. No? During the time of Maxwell, they already know very well the value of epsilon naught and mu naught. So he was able to calculate the velocity of the electromagnetic wave that he predicted. No? O sige, unahan tayo. Kuha kayo ng calcu. Kumuha kayo ng calcu, pindutin nyo yung 1 over square root ng mu naught epsilon naught. No? At ang makukuha nyo ay isang whole number. Magugulat kayo. Ito ang makukuha nyo. 299,792,458. Yan. Eksakto yan. Of course, nung time ni Maxwell, hindi pa ganyan ka-eksakto. No? Nung time ni Maxwell, yung value na yan ay hindi pa ganyan ka-exact. Pero very close to that value. Yan ang nakuha ni Maxwell. Okay? O ngayon, hindi ba kayo nagugulat? No? Hindi ba kayo nagugulat? Hindi ba familiar sa inyo ang value na ito? Yung value ng V na nakuha natin ay value ng ano? Sumagot kayo ngayon. Yes. Diba? Yung value ng velocity na nakuha ni Maxwell at na-compute niya. That is what we know today as the speed of light. Diba? Ang galing. Kanina ano lang ang iniisip niya, electric field at magnetic field. Ngayon ano na? Sana related yung electric at magnetic field. Related na siya sa light. Bakit? Kasi even during those times, they already know the speed of light. Alam na nila yon. So ano sabi niya? Abay, kung ako si Maxwell, magugulat ako. At sasabihin ko, oh no, ano ito? Diba? Nagtagalog bigla si Maxwell. At sinabi niya, itong value na na-compute ko ay nagmamatch sa known speed of light. Diba? How profound is that? Maxwell would now conclude, no? Kung ikaw si Maxwell, ano makukonclude mo? May na-compute kang velocity, no? Ang velocity na kinompute mo ay velocity ng isang electromagnetic wave. At yung velocity ng electromagnetic wave na pinipredict mo gamit yung math mo, nag-match sa known speed of light. Kung ikaw si Maxwell, anong conclusion ang madodro mo mula sa iyong na-discover? Diba? That is a really profound discovery. No? He later then concluded that light, yung liwanag, it must be electromagnetic. Diba? Kaya tayo nagkaroon ng tinatawag na electromagnetic theory of light. Kaya natin nalaman na ang liwanag has the same nature as electricity and magnetism because it is made of electric and magnetic fields. That is why I'm telling you this discovery is very profound. Maxwell discovered what no other living person on the planet discovered. What did he discover? That light is an electromagnetic phenomenon. Ewan kung kayo na-amaze, pero ako na-amaze ako. Kahit ilang beses ko na itong na-explain in many of my classes. No? Hindi nawawala yung amazement in my part. Kasi nai-imagine ko, no? Yung time na yun, kung ako si Maxwell, ganun yung mafe-feel ko. Okay? Kaya natin nalaman na ang light ay isang uri ng wave. Because it is an electromagnetic wave. Diba? Amazing, isn't it? Okay. And the rest is history. No? The rest is history. So how does an electromagnetic wave look like? Ito siya, guys. Yan. So we see the electric field is the blue one, and the magnetic field is the green one. They oscillate, varying with time. So yung electric makikreate ng magnetic, yung magnetic makikreate ng electric. And as you can see, they are in quadrature, meaning they are at right angles. No? The direction where the wave is traveling is perpendicular to both the electric and magnetic field. Such a wave is what we call a transverse electromagnetic wave. And since then, No, we have learned that light rather, that light is an electromagnetic phenomenon. That's why, sabi natin kanina, electricity, magnetism, and light are manifestations of the same phenomenon because all are electromagnetic. Ngayon, alam na natin na ang light ay electromagnetic, but Maxwell predicted that there must be some other waves, no? Other than light, no? Na binubuo ng oscillating electric and magnetic field. Was that prediction confirmed? Yes, it was, no? It was in 1860s when Maxwell was working on the electromagnetic field theory, 1863, 1865, no? So after more than 20 years, his predictions were finally confirmed when someone discovered, no, that there are electromagnetic waves other than light, no? Sinong tinutukoy kong tao na nag-confirm sa prediction ni Maxwell? It was the German physicist Hertz, no? Heinrich Rudolf Hertz. He was the one who confirmed that Maxwell's predictions were true when he accidentally discovered radio waves. Di ba? It was in 1887. He was working on his laboratory when suddenly an equipment sparked at a certain distance from another equipment. No? And every time one of the equipment would spark, the other equipment would also spark simultaneously. And they are not even connected by anything. Okay, so he studied the phenomenon and was able to plot, no, the waveform of the signal that he received. Nung nakita niya yung waveform, ganito itsura nun, no? Of course, alam niya yung wavelength, no? Pero of course, hindi sa oscilloscope nung time niya, wala pang oscilloscope nung time niya, no? But they have a way of displaying the waveform. Hindi ko lang alam kung paano, no? So nakuha niya yung wavelength and of course, he was the one who developed the circuit, no? So he knows very well the frequency. What will you get if you multiply the wavelength and the frequency? What will you get when you multiply the wavelength and the frequency? Basically, you will get the velocity of the wave. At alam nyo, nakuha niya? Ang nakuha niyang velocity ay nag-match sa velocity ng isang electromagnetic wave na pinipredict ni Maxwell. But the difference is, hindi ito liwanag. During that time kasi, ang alam lang natin na electromagnetic ay light. Because light has the same speed as an electromagnetic wave, then light has to be electromagnetic. But this time, no light. Or we're not speaking about light. We're not talking about light. We're talking of something invisible. Something invisible. Which has the same speed as an electromagnetic wave and as light. No? What he discovered, no, is actually radio waves. So siya ang naka-discover ng radio waves. Which confirms the predictions of Maxwell. So finally, we have come to a full circle, no? From the mathematics to the prediction, now it has been confirmed that the prediction is true. There are indeed electromagnetic waves as predicted by Maxwell. And the question is, how was Maxwell able to predict that there are electromagnetic waves? By the interpretation, the mere interpretation of Maxwell's equations. Diba? That is why Hertz was quoted saying this, attributing to Maxwell's equations. No? According to Hertz, one cannot escape the feeling that these mathematical formulas have an independent existence and intelligence of their own. That they are wiser than we are. Wiser even than their discoverers. That we get more out of them than we can ever put into them. Diba? We get more out of Maxwell's equations. From Maxwell's equations, we're able to predict that there are waves, which are electromagnetic, and then it has been confirmed. Radio waves really exist, and radio waves are electromagnetic just like light. And now, what do we do with radio waves? We use radio waves to communicate over long distances. And without these radio waves, we cannot communicate wirelessly. Alam ka naman, magsisigaw ka mula Manila, tapos makikinig ka sa Batangas, ang gamit lang boses mo. Of course, that's impossible. Wireless communications has been made possible because of radio waves. Diba? At paano tayo nagkaroon ng mga modern wireless technologies? That is through the applications of Maxwell's equations. Ladies and gentlemen, no? That is how profound Maxwell's equations are. How significant their impact is in our lives. Now, what happened after Hertz was able to discover that there are radio waves, which we are now using for communications? Here comes another brilliant person, no? Here comes Albert Einstein, no? An important consequence of Maxwell's equations inspired Einstein to develop the special and the general theory of relativity. Anong ibig sabihin nito? Ano ang nag-inspire kay Einstein para ma-develop niya ang kanyang kilala, the celebrated special and general theories of relativity? Because for your information, guys, there are two theories of relativity. One is the special and the other one is the general. Okay? Yung time dilation, length contraction, and the constancy of the speed of light, those are under the special theory of relativity. No? So one of the important facts that Einstein learned from Maxwell's equation is that light has a constant speed. No? Constant ang speed ng light. Hindi nagbabago. It doesn't change. Whether you are moving or not. The light has a velocity that doesn't change whether or not you are in motion. That is what we call the constancy of the speed of light. At dyan na-curious si Einstein. Ano ang consequence kung ang speed ng light ay constant? Gumagalaw man ako o hindi. No? Yan ang puzzle na kanyang na-solve nung na-develop niya ang tinatawag na special theory of relativity. Kaya sinasabi natin na habang bumibilis ang isang spaceship, yung orasan sa loob ng spaceship, bumabagal ang pagtik. That is because of time dilation. No? Bakit nagkakaganoon? Kasi constant ang speed of light. No? At paano natin nalaman na constant ang speed of light? That is because of Maxwell's equation. That's why we are saying to you, dear students, no? It was Maxwell's equations which inspired Einstein to formulate his celebrated theories of relativity. How about the general theory? The general theory of relativity is about gravity. No? So after the grand unification of electricity and magnetism, the next grand unification is when Paul Dirac unified quantum mechanics, no? Quantum mechanics and electromagnetism. And then later on, someone unified relativity, no? Relativity, electromagnetism, and quantum mechanics into what we now call quantum electrodynamics. Another important thing about Maxwell's equations is that they are compatible. They are compatible with quantum mechanics, and they are compatible with general relativity. Okay. So now, ano na yung holy grail sa physics na sinasabi natin ngayon, no? Yun yung tinatawag natin na the theory of everything, the grand unification of everything. Ano na lang ang hindi ma-unify ng mga physicists ngayon? At the moment, we cannot unify the laws of gravitation and quantum mechanics. They are incompatible because the laws of general relativity which applies to galaxies, no? To stars and cosmic objects, no, do not really sit well with quantum mechanics, which is the laws that govern the subatomic particles. No? At yon yung holy grail sa physics ngayon. Magkaroon ng grand unification na tinatawag nating theory of everything na nag-unify sa lahat ng known elements of nature, including electricity, magnetism, light, quantum mechanics, gravity. So far, ano pa lang ang na-unify natin? Na-unify natin ang general relativity, ang ang relativity ay compatible sa Maxwell's equations. Ang Maxwell's equations compatible sa quantum mechanics. Kaya nagkaroon tayo ng quantum electrodynamics. But general relativity is not compatible with quantum mechanics. So malay natin, isa sa inyo, sa mga nakikinig ngayon, ang makadiscover, no, ng tinatawag nating theory of everything that would be the grand unification that we are looking for. Now, when Einstein visited Scotland, no, and he went to the office which once occupied by Maxwell, of course, the host would welcome Einstein and the host would tell Einstein, you have discovered a lot of great things. And I am pretty sure you discovered a lot of them because you stood on the shoulder of Newton. Ang sabi ni Einstein, no, I stood on the shoulder of Maxwell. Di ba? Bakit sa tingin ni Einstein napakaraming mahalagang bagay at ideas ang kanyang na-discover? Because he believed that he was standing on the shoulder of James Clerk Maxwell, who unified the laws of electricity and magnetism into what we call Maxwell's equations. So ladies and gentlemen, my dear students, I would like to conclude with that. So thank you for your time and I hope you learned a lot tonight in our webinar. Thank you so much. I'd like to give the floor back to our organizers. Thank you so much. Ay, baka pala may questions. I would like to entertain some questions if there are. Baka po may mga tanong kayo. I can entertain 1 or 2 questions.
For our questions po, you can raise your hand po. O kaya po ay gamitin po ang ating chat box para po ma-entertain po tayo ni Engineer.
Okay, it seems that wala naman yata gusto magtanong. Kasi baka gutom na sila or baka kumakain sila kanina habang nagdi-discuss ako.
Engineer, ang galing niyo po kasi clear po talaga sa amin.
Yung heat po ba is electromagnetic wave then? No. Technically, heat is a transfer of energy. Whenever there is temperature difference between two objects, energy is transferred between them. And that transfer of energy is what we call heat. But, no, there is an electromagnetic wave which is closely associated with heat. And that is what we call infrared. Now, so yung infrared, yon ang electromagnetic. Now, how does that relate with heat? All objects na mainit, lahat ng mainit na bagay, nag-i-emit ng infrared. So yung infrared na nai-emit ng bagay na mainit, yon ang electromagnetic. So I hope I was able to answer your question clearly. How does it relate to sunlight, sir? Okay. Sunlight, of course, is light. It propagates from the sun in free space. Why? Because light is an electromagnetic radiation. It doesn't have to propagate in any medium. That's why the light coming from the sun reaches the earth, no, by means of what we call radiation. It is the process which allows the light of the sun to reach the earth. But in addition to the visible light, the sun also generates infrared radiation. So both infrared and visible light coming from the sun reaches the earth by means of a process known as radiation. Alam nyo guys, may share ko lang sa inyo. Ang gusto ko talaga sa buhay ay maging parang si Kuya Kim, no? Yung isang science communicator, yung mapapanood mo sa TV na nag-explain ng science stuffs, no? Making it communicable to people. Kasi alam naman natin yung mga tao, pag wala silang proper background, okay. So, are there any more questions? Last one. Baka may isa pa. One last question. Okay. May relation po ba yung magnetic field sa energy, kasi para po silang pareho na cannot be created nor destroyed? Actually, ganito yan. Magnetic field can store energy. No? If there is a magnetic field, that magnetic field stores a certain amount of energy. So if you lose the energy or the magnetic field, the energy is actually lost. Pero hindi talaga lost. It has just been converted into something else. So the important thing is that magnetic field stores energy. Okay? Energy cannot be created, it cannot be destroyed. But of course, magnetic fields may or may not exist. No? At alam natin, magnetic fields may only come from moving electric charges. Okay? So with that, I'd like to end our question and answer portion. Thank you everyone for your participation and for listening.
Ayan, thank you po, Engineer. Sobrang na-enlighten po kami sa inyo pong discussion. Thank you po for giving us your time. So now, allow us to proceed po to the awarding of certificate to our guest speaker. So I'm giving the floor to our ISEP Batangas Student Chapter President, Ms. Ancha Sadsayas, to award the certificate.
Hello po, good evening. Parinig po ba ako?
Yes po.
Ayan, hello po, good evening, Engineer. Grabe ang energy natin. Kumain na po ba kayo?
Gutom na.
Ay, gutom na si Engineer. Padelivera na natin yan. Again po, we would like to thank you po, Engineer Amboy, for your time and accepting our invitation po. It is truly an honor to learn with you, lalo na po at pag tinatanong namin ng mga taga-BSU, sino pwedeng po ng speaker dyan, sasabihin nila, matik si Sir Amboy magaling. And with that, we finally have the chance to experience it po through this webinar. Hopefully po ay magkaroon pa po tayo ng chance to do so sa future at sana ay mas mahaba pa po ang time at hindi na po gabi at syempre lahat po ay may pasok na tayo ngayon. Ito lang po ang nag-align na
Sana
schedule.
face-to-face na next time.
Ay, baka naman po BSU. Bibisitahin po namin kayo dyan. Ayan, with that po, let me read the citation. The Certificate of Appreciation is proudly presented to Engineer Jeffrey M. Amboy in recognition of their valuable contribution as a guest speaker during the webinar Essentials, Bridging Engineering Gap on Demystifying Maxwell Equation of Electromagnetics, held on January 25, 2025 via Zoom. Your expertise and dedication to sharing knowledge have greatly enriched the learning experience of all participants and inspired the continuous pursuit of excellence. Signed by yours truly, Anchased B. Sayas, the ISEP Batangas ESC President, Alteo Lorraine A. Sagadal, the Academics Head of ISEP Batangas ESC, and Dr. Antoinette Villapando Chua, the Advisor of ISEP Batangas ESC, and the Vice Governor for Education of ISEP Batangas Chapter. Thank you po once again, and this will also be sent po to you via email.
Thank you so much. Maraming
Thank you
salamat.
po.
Thank you, ISEP Batangas Student Chapter, and of course, most importantly, to all the participants and audience tonight. Maraming salamat. Bye-bye.
Ayan. Thank you rin po kay Engineer. Thank you po talaga for giving your time to discuss po to us the topic. And ngayon naman po, we will proceed na po to our photo op. Ayan. So, can I request po everyone to turn on their cameras po para may photo opportunity naman po tayo. Pwede nyo rin pong gamitin yung background, Zoom background image na sinend ko po earlier. And sinend din po namin sa inyong mga email. Ayan, waiting lang po for the other participants. Kung makakapag-on cam lang naman po. Thank you so much. Ayan, picture po tayo. And 1, 2, 3. Ayan, sama po. 1, 2, 3. Pwede po bang maka-request na isa pong post ng one ISEP? Yan. 1, 2, 3. Last one. 1, 2, 3. Ayan. Thank you very much po sa ating mga participants and of course to Engineer Amboy as well. Maraming salamat po sa inyo. Alam ko pong marami po sa atin ay mga gutom at pagod. But thank you for taking the time to attend our webinar series, episode 2. So episode 2 pa lang po tayo. Talagang magkikita pa po tayo sa mga susunod na episodes. Kaya abangan niyo po lagi ang amin pong announcement sa aming Facebook page. And now, we will proceed naman po sa ating evaluation. Ipe-present po namin sa inyo yung evaluation form, and also isi-send din po namin sa chat box here so you can access it po. You can scan the QR code presented on the screen and ilalagay din po namin yung link of evaluation dito po sa ating chat box. Reminder lang po sa ating mga participants, to ensure the exclusivity of our event, we kindly request that you do not share this evaluation form po, since this is exclusive lang po sa ating mga nag-participate here sa Zoom meeting, and it will be only open until 11:59 p.m. po.